Welcome back, ballroom dance friends. Today is part 4 of a little mini series. So this will be the final one. That is a response to a great question one of our ballroom dance friends asked in the comments. And Manana asked, "Hello, do you know if there's a difference between competitions in Europe and the USA?" And my response is, heck yeah, there's a lot different. That's why I'm doing 4 videos. And if you missed those previous ones, I will include a link in the description to the last one I posted, the part 3, okay? Okay, so next up, like the United States, we know the tempo of the music. We know the order that is predetermined, which dance they'll do first, second, third. And just like the United States, we do not know what song we're going to hear when competing in Europe. Obviously, the only exception is if you're doing a show dance, but in that case, you're not out there really competing against those other couples on the floor simultaneously, okay? Okay, now next, compared to the US, the floor sizes, in my experience, have been very inconsistent. So in the US, our floors tend to pretty reliably be 60 by 45 feet. Sometimes they throw pro-ams under the bus and do smaller, but I would say 90% of the time you're gonna get a 60 by 45 foot floor. It's just like a box of chocolates in Europe. You don't know what you're gonna get. I have competed on eensy-weensy floors. The UK Open floor is 120 feet long. I believe it's crazy long. Okay, the international, those final rounds are at the Royal Albert Hall. That's a round floor, guys. Imagine dancing a routine in a circle. It's crazy. So I just think that's quite interesting over there compared to here, now that you ask. Okay, next up, something that has really surprised me in the European comps is they have a completely different category there in ballroom and Latin dance than I've ever seen in the United States or Canada, for that matter. It's called sequence dancing. And interestingly, Blackpool does have a sequence dance competition, but it is hosted, much like Junior Blackpool, at a completely different time than the Blackpool Dance Festival for the championship ballroom and Latin dancers. And when you hear Blackpool as a single word, they're always talking about the Blackpool Dance Festival. Well, they also have a sequence dance championships as well there, okay? So a sequence dance, it's similar to a formation team. And I'm going to assume if you're watching this channel, you already know what a formation team is. But in sequence dancing, all of the couples are doing the same choreo at the same time. And unlike the formation team, you're not going to see lifts and drops and stuff like that, or partner switching, anything. It's just going to be people dancing with their partner, all doing the same choreography, basically in a circle, going line of dance, okay? Doing the same figure at the same time, which is very interesting. These routines are pre-choreographed, and generally in those comps, you know the routine. You always know the routine in advance, and you know the song in advance too. So you're up against other sequence teams, so to speak, but you're all dancing that same song, just in a different time on the floor, okay? You're not on the floor all together, okay? Now you're judged as your group and how you dance together and in unison and all that stuff. And the figures are 100% international style, standard, and Latin in those categories, okay? Now this is something else super interesting. You might not be aware, we actually have a similar style in the United States, although it's completely separate from the ballroom and Latin world. It's called round dancing. And in round dancing, you all dance in a circle. You do the same choreography at the same time. It's pre-choreographed to that specific song. So any round dance group across the country is going to do these patterns in this order to this song. You don't partner swap, you stay with that partner. It is also all 100% international standard and international Latin style for round dancing. It's not really a subculture like you would see, for example, in West Coast swing in my region of the country, where the ballroom dancers tend to do that too. Round dance is its own completely separate culture. As a matter of fact, even though I'm an American and I'm broadcasting from the United States and round dance is very popular in my region, I would have never heard of it had I not had some round dance teachers come to me for instruction. So fascinating. Yeah, it's called round dancing. Now for serious ballroom dancers and ballroom and Latin competitors, I do not recommend round dancing, especially if you want to compete. Here's why. You are forced, because of the concept of dancing in that circle all at the same time, to do choreography at weird angles that is actually even prohibited in the ISCD book. Now you could do it technically in open, but no one would, because they don't look as good when they're in, say it's meant to go rotate and you have to force it down a long wall, or you have a linear figure, especially a reverse turning figure that you gotta crank around a corner going to your right. It's all sorts of messed up. So I don't recommend that, because you will cultivate some very bad habits, guys. And trust you me, it is much harder to unlearn a bad dance lesson than it is just to learn right out of the chute, okay? And in my experience, again, this is my personal experience. Feel free to share if you've started getting hair in my face here. Share if you've experienced something different, but in my experience, and I have done round dancing just as a kick for fun. Very nice people, by the way. There's no lead and follow. It's 100%. I do my routine and I know the routine, including with the lady. So it's comparable to always taking a group class where no one truly learns their part. They just learn to stomp out the choreo. And in high level dance sport, you know, beginning levels of competition, yeah, you're just dragging your partner around and hanging on your partner. But certainly by the time you get to championship, you are an excellent lead, an excellent follow. You do not need to know what's coming next to be able to do it beautifully, okay? Okay, now this is something even more weird. They have for round dance, they don't have this in sequence dancing, but in USA round dance, they have what's called a collar. And it's just like a collar in square dance. While you're dancing to the song, there's someone on a mic going, a la mana. Like they call out every single figure right before you do it. To me, it's just quite strange coming from a ballroom dance, you know, and competitors' background and private lessons. It's very unusual to most ballroom dancers, okay? Okay, something even more strange about round dancing in the United States. The round dancers wear what looks like square dancing outfits. So like those short poofy petticoat skirts. And I've gone to a round dance where you're, as a follow, not allowed to wear pants there. And there's literally a big sign on the door that says only men wear the pants here or something like that. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a little unusual. So it's just definitely a very different dance subculture, but you are doing 100% international Latin and standard legit figures, okay? Okay, final difference between that stuck out to me in European competition versus American. So when you make a callback, meaning you dance the first round, you make that first elimination, they call you to redance, and then they call the top half from those people that redance. Well, in the United States, when they call out the people that made the cut, they're like, couples number 204, 206, 250, 304, 300, etc. and they say the full name of each competitor, like not the names, but the name of that number on the competitor's back. And they go up sequentially. Well, in Europe, at least the comps I've done, it's a little strange to me, from my kind of American experience. They will, in the recalls, say the first number, for example, 204. But as soon as they say that, they say 204, 7, 10, 50. And they don't say the number 200 again. They just go through all the 200s and say some sort of single digit. And then they say 307, 9, 15. And the first comp I did over there, we made the next round. We had no idea, because I just thought, well, that's weird. They're announcing the numbers out of order. Okay, no biggie. I didn't make the round. I danced my best. And then the MC is like, couple number. And they kept on saying like 10, or whatever. Like, that's not us. And finally we figured it out and went running out there like amateur hour. I jumped on the floor, looked like idiots. So embarrassing story for Sunny. Okay, and actually one more difference I can think of. I don't recall ever seeing a deck captain at a European comp. So in the United States, we have kind of like a supervisor that stands in that on deck area and just makes sure, okay, you're here, you're on the floor, you go next, we're missing so-and-so. There's no deck captain. I just see you better show up when you want to. Now, I've only been to really the major comps, so maybe they do have one at the other comps where there's a little bit less experienced competitors, because as I've shared in another kind of background on European comps, I have never attended a European comp where they even have syllabus events. It's all open, so everyone there, it's not their first rodeo. They're very experienced championship level dancers. So anyway, I hope those stories have been helpful. I apologize for, again, going over my 10-minute mark, but thank you so much, Manana, for asking a question. Guys, I cannot tell you how much easier you make my job when you ask questions, because I have no idea what you're gonna find interesting or helpful. I'm just kind of shooting in the dark every day. So if you have a question, I bet other people do too. And if there's something else you want to know about in terms of competition, ballroom dance culture, what it's like competing as an amateur, I've done that from newcomer all the way through open professional. Teaching, if there's a question you're embarrassed or uncomfortable to ask your teacher, hey, ask me. I don't know you from Adam. I have no political agenda. I'll just tell it like it is. So anyway, guys, if you enjoy all things ballroom, please hit that subscribe button. And I look forward to seeing you in the morning, and happy dancing.